figure fans, it's the one and only Optibottoms coming with another video review. In today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at something I've been looking forward to for a long time. Today, we have the new Hot Toys MMS 473 of the Iron Man Mark 50 from Avengers Infinity War. Their 23rd release in their diecast series. The Mark 50 was completely different than anything we'd seen previously from Iron Man. And while on screen he looked amazing, this figure does the best that it can to kind of replicate that look. But that being said, it's not without some kind of collector qualms, I guess. For the package, it's very similar to all those other Infinity War figures that we've gotten, with one notable exception that it is much bigger. You can see an absolute gorgeous image of the Mark 50 there in the background with the Avengers A. You got the Avengers Infinity War, Mark 50. The side here has a continuation of that image from the front. You got a nice little Avenger logo right down there. Other side has a continuation of the actual Avengers logo. Come around to the back of the package, you got various warnings and things of that nature. Then you got a nice little Iron Man kind of print right there. And then it is a slip box, so it just kind of slides up just like so. It does get a little bit tricky. Now, one thing that's interesting is that a lot of these diecast figures have had this style package where it's a kind of hard cardboard box. If I can, well, I'm not going to be able to do it. But usually it has a plastic section on the outer bit, giving a little bit more depth to the artwork that's on this. This doesn't have it, and that's a little bit unfortunate. But this is the standard kind of box that we've gotten with other diecast Iron Man figures. Got that little sketch sort of thing. You can lift this up, and then the inside here has the foam packaging, which obviously the figure is all in. So setting this off to the side, you can see you got it embossed here with Mark 50. You can bring this down. Parts are probably going to fall. Yes, indeed. You can see you got accessories. You got the packaging material, all that kind of stuff. Then on the back, you have more of his accessories. So while this is a very similar style package that we've gotten for the diecast figures, they change it up a little bit by removing that little plastic section on the outside of the outer box and just throwing in the slip cover. So it is a little bit different, but still kind of maintains that Infinity War sort of packaging theme, which is nice. But for the packaging on this guy, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. And here we have the Mark 50 opened up and out of its packaging. And as always, starting off first with his accessories, coming down to take a closer look at him. First up, we do have his instruction sheet, which I strongly recommend going through and taking a look at. All of these Iron Man figures have something slightly different about them that you really want to make sure that you go through and learn how to kind of play with properly. And the instructions here really do help with that. Whether it be swapping out the different weapons that he comes with, to the range of motion that he has, and what you're able to do with that range of motion when you've extended certain pieces, things of that nature, or things like warnings, like don't drop it. You don't drop your toys, people. But this is where kind of the controversy begins. Everything that you see here is $406, and for that price, he really doesn't come with a lot, especially when you consider that they have an additional accessory pack, which adds a whole bunch of other weapons that he used in Infinity War available at $250, which makes this entire thing, if you wanted to get everything for Iron Man, puts it at about $650, which is a lot. And I really feel that that accessory pack, while nice, some of those pieces should have been included here. And it's really unfortunate that they didn't include more. Now, I do have the accessory pack pre-order because I am all about all things Iron Man. That doesn't mean that I don't have opinions about him kind of ripping us off to an extent. Because at $250, while you're getting a whole bunch more accessories, they're all made out of plastic. There's no die cast in any of those. So definitely unfortunate. But taking a look at what we have here, in addition to the two fisted hands that are currently on the figure, he does come with the standard repulsor blast pose where you have the wrist that's bent up, you have the repulsor blast right there, hands are spread out and everything. Really very nice. Great paint detail on there. Very nice metallic paint on here, which looks great. One thing, and it's throughout the whole body, and I'll mention it. As much as I love this figure, there's aspects that I don't understand. I don't understand why there's like these little scratch details on there. All the Iron Man figures previously have had them, but all the Iron Man figures that we've had previously represented actual suits that Tony would wear that could get scratched up. This is a nano suit. So shouldn't those scratches like go away? I mean, granted, he takes on a considerable amount of damage, but when he was repairing himself, it was basically a full repair job. So I don't understand the little scratches. It's a nice touch, but it's just weird, I suppose. So you do have those. You do get a pair of articulated hands, which is a very common thing. But these ones, I don't particularly like how these ones look. The biggest thing is there is like a lot of like gappiness like here between the fingers and the actual hand. That I almost thought that they were like ball joints at first, but like you can really see like a lot of gapping there. I don't remember any other ones being that noticeable. That just kind of looks ugly to me, but you can see great detail with it as well. You got that very nice metallic paint. These fingers though are articulated, so you can get a almost fist with it. This is a ball joint that's stuck. There you go. I mean, it's just about a fist. Not as full fisted, but you can do something like that. So I mean, that's nice. From the backside, it doesn't look all that bad. It looks, I mean, you got those little silver or gold bits that hide that pretty well. It's just from the underside, I feel like it really shows those joints a little bit too much, and they just look like they're floating. So I'm not a huge fan of those. Now, he does come with a Robert Downey Jr. portrait. I'll do a comparison later on. It is the exact same portrait that we got with the Iron Man Mark 46. The only thing that's different really is the paint detail, which you'll see, but this still looks amazing. I mean, I'm perfectly okay with them reusing the sculpt, but again, that's where I feel like $406, I feel like the price should have came down because you just reused the sculpt for this. You didn't need to pay anybody to sculpt a new portrait or mold a new one or anything like that. It's the same. So there are cost-cutting measures that they're utilizing that doesn't seem like it's trickling down in terms of the overall price. Now, it's not a bad portrait. The portrait is perfect. I just feel as if you're going to reuse it, you should knock the price down a little bit. But that absolutely looks like Robert Downey Jr. I mean, the detail is amazing. I love the serious nature of his eyes. I mean, everything on there, absolutely amazing. All the way down to his goatee being perfectly replicated. I mean, that is just a spectacular looking head sculpt. And again, we'll do a comparison here later on. He also does come with a neck section that just sits right here or in the back. Well, maybe it's like that. I don't remember how it goes. But from when the suit retracts and you just have that, but you do have a little bit of that extra bit kind of coming around his neck. So you do have that. And then he does come with his display stand. It says the Avengers Infinity War. It just says Iron Man. It doesn't say Mark 50 or anything like that. It's just this white print on here, which again, I wish they would use a metallic one or something, but really nice detail on there with the galaxy image in there, and you have a little bit of a varnish on the Avengers logo right there. It is a flexible pillar. One thing I would say is that the hole for this is a bit of a pain in the butt to kind of get this. Even unscrewing this that allows you to slide it on there easier, it's a little bit thicker than that, and it kind of scratched this up a little bit. So kind of sucks that that's the case, but it is what it is. Now for his weapons, and I'll show how to attach all of these. Here's his little back thruster thing. Great detail on here. It just attaches to the back, but very organic looking. And when you have it on there, it does a pretty good job, with the exception of like up here, but again, I'll show that in a bit, of it looking like it organically comes from the suit, which is gorgeous. There are a couple little deployable sections here. Here you do want to be very careful when you're doing it. The instructions tell you not to overextend it. So there's those ones. Where's the other one? There's some on the bottom. Just gives a little bit more flair to the design of it. And then I think that's it. So you got those little pieces here that just kind of flare out. It is what it is. I mean, you do want to be careful because these are plastic and there's a very small hinge on here, but they do look really nice. you know, wish there was more stuff with it, honestly. But gorgeous detail in here. The red paint on here looks good. You got those thrusters, like I was saying, that really help to kind of make him a little bit more mobile when he's flying around in a stationary sort of thing. Instead of just flying in a straight line very easily because of the thrusters he has, this allows him to kind of swoop and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. He comes with this giant cannon. Again, gorgeous detail on this. Nice silver paint, nice gold. The red is very, very nice and vibrant. You got some gorgeous painted detail on here. I like how on the inside here, I don't know how well that's going to come across, but on the inside is a slightly bluish window section, which helps to diffuse some of the light that comes through. I'll show again how to attach this. You just put it on the arm and then you can have the light turn on, and throughout here is a translucent sort of bit here. So I don't know how well you can, yeah, you can kind of see that lights up as well. Kind of, sort of, you get the idea, but really still very nice. I like that. And then you do have a blaster that attaches to his arm. This one is the left arm, so that goes there and that goes there, sorry. So this just comes up on the top. You can't even see it because, you know, whatever. But again, really nice looking detail on here. All these pieces are created from his suit. He thinks about it and the suit reacts, which is terrific. So it creates, I mean, I don't know how he ends up creating the look of this in his mind. Is like, why does his mind think that it needs to have like these little teeth looking things? I don't know, who knows, but it looks cool. I love it. It's really neat. So overall, very, very similar. Matches the suit, obviously, as it should, because it comes from the suit. But for his accessories, like I said, that's it. It's not a lot. You do get more with that accessory pack, but is that accessory pack worth it? Give me some time and I'll let you know. Now, coming in to take a closer look at the figure, Hot Toys has done a really great job of recreating this, and it wasn't easy, I don't think. The overall design of the suit, being that it is based on nanotechnology that surrounds Tony, probably was really very difficult to recreate in terms of real world materials. And that's kind of created what other collectors complain about. Some of the actual gapping. Now, when you look at the movie, there is none because it's very fluid. This, you can't recreate that exact same kind of look. It's just not functional. So things like the shoulders there, and especially down here in the hips, which we'll get down to, our things had to be engineered in a way where they were both aesthetically as close as possible and yet still functional. When you have them in a static pose like this, you can do a good job of kind of closing everything off. You come around here to the back, you can kind of see where everything kind of just fits together. But when you do want to pose them, that's where things kind of start breaking up. And that's where some collectors have issues, I guess, because of that real world functionality that an actual physical toy needs to have. So you're not going to please everybody, but I think they did a great job. Head sculpt wise, this thing looks terrific. I love the look on this. It's very sleek, and I love how it maintains some of that organic sort of look. Come down to the body itself. Again, great looking detail in here. I love the arc reactor. The paint job looks amazing. Again, you got some of those weird scratches on there, which it's kind of weird that they're there because I feel like they probably shouldn't be. The back is gorgeous. He does still have the air flaps, which it's a little bit tricky to get to, which if it is, always pull out a little tool. They include one, and it's not always the easiest to still kind of get underneath there, but you can kind of wedge things and make it, there we go. So he does still have the little air flaps that can deploy. Obviously, again, a lot of the functionality of the suit that just in general Iron Man figures have had is there. Even to the point where, and again, I don't know why Hot Toys really did this, but you can remove the chest piece. I don't know why, because it never did that, so I feel like they should have just left this on there. But great detail on the inside there, kind of showing the, I guess, under stuff from when the nanotech wraps around. I just feel like that's a weird kind of thing to have on it. He does have all the light up features. You have a lot of these little bits right here that do light up as well. I'll show that here in a bit. But one thing that I really do like is that they're painted very nicely where it's got a kind of bluish white on there, which makes it look like they're kind of lit up without actually being lit up, which is really very cool. Again, you got a very nice organic look, very slender looking suit. I'll do a comparison later on to another Iron Man, and you can definitely see the difference there, but you do have a very slender sort of look. And then this is also what I was talking about with the gapping and everything. Yeah, this little bit here does look a little bit ugly, and again, doesn't have that seamless kind of look that this suit had, but I feel like there's no real way that they could have done that while still maintaining the figure's articulation. I mean, like, they could have made that like one solid like rubber piece, but then it would have probably looked even worse when you move things around. Legs, again, really slender, very sleek. Again, really very cool and organic looking, which I absolutely love on this. Now, for some of the little extra features, such as his accessories and things like that. Oh, I'm moving my camera all over the place. Sorry, don't pay attention to that. For the head swap, all you do is you pull the whole section out. Make sure you pull out that base bit, and then take this little piece, slide this down over the ball joint, and you have that little section there in the front that just kind of fills that in. And then you take Tony, put that in there, and that looks terrific. It really does. It looks, again, like it wraps around, especially here with the shoulder sections. It all looks really very cool how that does, or how that's incorporated. But obviously, because I'm going to be putting his weapons on, I'm going to put his helmet back on. Now, showing off the light up features first, you do have this magnetic, removes, flip the switch, you got the eyes. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you all of these. Let's see, is there any other lights on there? No, that's the only light on there. Several of the battery compartments and lights actually control other sections. So for example, come around near the back, put your little finger in there, or you can use that tool. Wedge that. You got the battery compartment. This is what you'll have to do for the little flight section anyhow. You got the little button right there that when you hit that, you can see it lights up. I don't know how well that, let's see how well that kind of comes across. Turn it off. You can actually see that pretty good. So it activates lights up here, down here, and then on the upper section of his buttocks. Come around the other side, and then you get some in his upper shoulder sections that light up. Obviously, the arc reactor down here in his torso, and then in the lower pelvis area. So again, I'm going to turn that off just to save batteries. Now, the battery section here, this is a little bit tricky. You do want to be careful, obviously, when you're moving things around, but the batteries are inserted in this. Oh, that even moved. Get that out of the way. So the batteries come around here. They go into the back. You got to move this forward, and then this piece separates and comes out. That's where the batteries are inserted, but that's not actually where you turn the lights on. You come around to the inside of the arm, kind of try and minimize any kind of rubbing and everything. Oh, whoops. That comes into play later on. Just keep that in there. Come around here, pull this. There we go. Pull that out. And then this is the switch for it. So you flip that to the on position. That lights up the arc reactor, and then also lights up the little light on the outer section of his arm. So I'm going to leave that like that just to make it a little bit easier. And then you come down to the legs, and these little panels on the back here kind of grab hold of the back, pull those away. You got the battery and the on switch here. That lights up that, and that's it. Yeah, there's no other light up section. That's a lot of battery just for one light right there. So I'm guessing, well, you know, I wonder if it has anything to do with like the extra accessories at some point in time. Who knows? But lots of lights on this guy. You only have, like I said, those battery compartments there. Get that on there. So you have the thighs, You got both the arms, the back section, and the head. So lots of lights controlled by not necessarily a lot of batteries, but let's see how cool he looks all lit up with the lights off. So, I mean, this guy lights up like a Christmas tree. I mean, that is absolutely gorgeous looking, honestly. I do wish there was a little bit more along the lower section of his legs, but that is absolutely cool, and they're really very bright. I don't know how bright they're going to come across on screen here, but that's impressive. I mean, you can totally see where his eyes are, how it comes down to his legs. I mean, it almost looks like a skeletal sort of thing right there, but that's really cool. Now, for his other accessories, there is some kind of swapping of parts. You're going to want to take this off if you already have it, and then this piece just pegs right back on. So you just line everything up and push it in there as far as you can. It stays in there pretty decently. I did see Shartimus where he mentioned his is fairly loose. Mine doesn't fall off, but it doesn't have like kind of popping sort of thing like I wish it did. But one thing that I have noticed is that like right here, unless you have it like completely pushed up, it kind of looks like it's just sitting there. It doesn't look like it's organically coming from it. I mean, in general, it's not bad. And then you can see like down here in the bottom, there's some gapping and such. So it's not bad. I mean, it is what it is, because like I said, it's not really coming from the body. You know what I mean? So they had to do something with it. And unfortunately, it just creates lines and gaps that aren't the prettiest looking and aren't as seamless as I would like, but I get why they did it. But that's still pretty cool. And, you know, I mean, it sits there pretty decently, at least on mine. Now, for the other weapons, we got this guy right here. We're going to pull this arm off. You could kind of see how it happened already. And then you take this and just put that in there. And that's it. And now you have him with a cannon for an arm. Now, again, what's cool is the light up feature still works. So put that light on and you can really see just how bright that is. I mean, that does a really beautiful job. And even along the side here, you can see it lighting up very, very nicely on the outer section. Again, turning the lights off, giving you kind of an idea. Really very bright, but again, I don't know how well that's coming across on the camera, but I love how it's got that translucent section along the side. And then again, we're just gonna turn that off. You pull that arm out like so and put that back on there. And you can feel it actually kind of pop in there. Now, for the other one, it's a little bit tricky. I'm gonna pull that off. You can put it on either arm, really, just because it all the stuff kind of lines up. So let me get him standing there. So take the hand off first, and then take your little tool kind of thing, and look here along the side where you can kind of see like a double section. So like right here. And then just kind of wedge that away. When you do, you'll pull that apart. Then you can take the other gun, and then you just take this and put it on there. Although, there you go, push that all the way down. And you can see that I actually like how the whole section here kind of fits in. So like as you put that on there, you can see that it matches. So there's that. Then you can take the hand, you can slide the hand back in there, bring this back up, lock that into place, and now he's got that as a cannon. This doesn't light up, unfortunately. If you put the light on, kind of wish that it did have kind of like a light up section in there, but it doesn't. The one thing that I have noticed, at least on mine, and pull that out, is that when you pull this out, let me get the hand out of there, it kind of has started separating right here, which you don't want it to. The two halves of the actual forearm are not meant to do that. So be careful when you're doing that, guys. It's definitely a figure that you don't want to damage. So put that back in there. Put that in there like that. Again, push that in. You'll feel it lock into place. And those are his accessories. And that's it. I mean, obviously, when that accessory pack comes out, I'll show more accessories and how to attach it. But that's it. You get this, you get this, and you get this. That's a little unfortunate. And here we have the new Mark 50 next to the previous Mark 46 from Captain America Civil War. But the 47 had a slightly different Iron Man look. This 46 has a more classic red, gold, silver sort of motif. But you can see that either the 46 or 47, you can see how they were starting to get a little bit more organic with the design. I mean, he's still a little bit bulkier, but it was still very much a suit that he went into. Unlike the 50 that had the suit housed in his arc reactor and then through the nanotechnology surrounded him, which gives him a much sleeker sort of look. I mean, you really notice it, especially here in the shoulders and the arms. And I like it. I think it looks really good. I mean, I do like the classic, you know, Tony wearing a suit kind of look, you know, with the bulkiness of it. But I love the sleekness. Now, obviously, because the suits are different, there really isn't that much of a need to compare them. I mean, you can see what it is. The biggest thing here is the Robert Downey Jr. head sculpt. As I mentioned, it is just about identical to the one that was released here with the 46. So coming in to take a closer look at that, the only difference that you're really seeing is the paint. You can see that the hair is a little bit lighter. You got a little bit more of that blonde element thrown in there. The sculpt is exactly the same. The only difference is the 46 version has a little bit darker of a skin tone. I attribute that to him fighting Steve Rogers. I mean, you got this black eye right here where he got that from battling all those other guys, and this one here doesn't have it. So really, that's the only difference. Both of them are terrific sculpts. There's no real need, in my opinion, to change much because that is an absolutely stellar representation of Robert Downey Jr. They just updated a little bit more, like I said, gave him a little bit lighter of a hair color, and then removed the black eye, and then kind of toned down some of the shading. So for me, it works. Now for his articulation, it's basically the same as any die-cast Iron Man figure that we've gotten previously. The head here is on a separate joint here at the bottom section, and then you got a ball joint here for the upper part of the neck. The one thing that this does have, as opposed to this, is you do have that very deep hinge section, which allows you to create kind of a flying pose, which is nice, but you do get some ugly gapping. These little shoulder pieces here can flex outward and kind of get out of the way. When you do want to move this around, your best bet is to actually extend it out to get that butterfly joint, which separates this from the shoulder section, which allows you to not really damage that. Then you can rotate that around. But again, as you're doing it, be careful because parts are going to rub up against each other. And the slower you go, the better it is. You also got a hinge going outward. And then, like I said, you got that little butterfly joint. Come down to the elbow. This section right here actually shifts up, which is nice. So you can get a really nice bend here. Kind of lift this up like so. And then you get a little bit more than a 90-degree bend at the elbow itself. The wrists do have, oh, and then you have to slide that back down. The wrists do have ball joints, and then the fingers, depending on which hand you have on there, do have the articulation as well. Get this kind of out there so I can show you off the torso section. He's got two separate sections here at the torso. You got one section, well, just as it is, you get a little bit of range of motion, not a lot. It kind of moves forward and back a bit, but you can extend it up on one joint and then another one at the upper part. So you get a deeper range of motion and also a wider sort of pivot. You can also rotate them a little bit more. You got this piece right here, which kind of is on a little hinge, so you can kind of float that around, bend that around a little bit. The hips here, you got these little pieces in the front that can fold outwards. These little pieces here along the side. There you go. That folds out, and then nothing at the butt, but you just have those little pieces that move out. And then you can move the legs forward, back, in, out, and then they also do have that little extender bit here so you can get that moving a little bit wider, which is really nice. You do have a rotation at the upper part of the thigh. You also do have a very large ball joint there, which allows this section to get a little bit more play when you're trying to rotate things around. Come down to the knee, you got a double joint for the knee, really very nice. And then the ankles do move just by themselves a little bit forward, side to side, forward and back. You got these little pieces here, and then a little piece on the back that allows you to articulate that stuff around. This little piece kind of slides around. You got a little toe section. He does extend at the foot, but it's tricky to get to. I don't know how. I mean, kind of. I'm trying to see if I can just wiggle it. The instructions say that the ankle does slide down, but it's not easy to get to because you have these little pieces here, and I'm trying to, I don't want to put too much pressure on one thing. So the instructions say that it's there, but I'm not going to exert too much force on it just because this is my toy and I don't want to damage it. But lots of articulation in them. Just be careful because, like I said, it is a die-cast figure, so you do want to be a little extra cautious when you're moving things around so that you don't damage anything or scratch any of the paint on the metal, because it looks really good and you want to keep it looking good for as long as you can. In general, though, this figure does not disappoint. I love the look of it in the film and think that Hot Toys has done a great job in recreating what they can. Fans have complained about the gaps and things like that, and yeah, it doesn't look like it did in the film, but I honestly don't feel there's an easy way for them to replicate that in terms of an actual figure. The other thing that I do have an issue with is the price. At $406, while yes, he's a die-cast figure, he really doesn't come with a lot. I mean, I get that they want to do the accessory pack and make more money, but they should have put more stuff with the main figure. I would have loved it if they included something along the lines of when he first used this suit and those little kind of back pieces came out, and then there was like a few of them behind him that blasted forward. That would have been really cool. As it is, that accessory doesn't even exist in the accessory pack, and to get that accessory pack, like I said, it's an extra $250. So while I appreciate that they put all of those into a separate section so that this figure isn't $650, I feel they could have taken some of those and included it with this guy. But beyond that, I don't really have many other complaints about this. Aesthetically, he looks amazing. The light up features all look really very cool. And while yes, we do have a reuse of the Robert Downey Jr. portrait from the previous 46 and 47, this is just about perfect. So I really don't mind getting this. But again, in all fairness, reusing it probably should mean that you should be able to lower the price a little, because you don't have to develop this. It's already there. But this set still is terrific. And with the huge amount of Iron Man figures that are out there, this one definitely is in my top. In my opinion, they really have saved the best for last. And the 50 here looks amazing. The next up after this, at least for Iron Man, is the Mark 85. And I have a very strong feeling that the 50 and the 85 are going to become my favorite Iron Man suits of just about all time. So, all that being said, if this version of Iron Man is a figure that you'd like to add to your collection, you can always check out places such as Big Bad Toy Store. For that, I'll put a link down in the video description where you'll go to BBTS and you can check out availability on this guy or pre-order any other figures coming out today. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Remember, if you like this video, I would really appreciate it, guys, if you would show your support simply by hitting that little thumbs up button. That one small gesture really does go a long way towards helping me out, and I would really appreciate it. And a huge thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this review. Another way that you can really help support my channel is making sure that you watch the video all the way through. And if you did that, thank you. Also, I want to send a huge shout out to all of my patrons, who through their continued support, now more than ever, help to make reviews like this possible. And finally, remember, grow wise, grow strong, but never grow up. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I love you 3000.